Hello YouTube. Basically, today I don't have any kind of a solo or anything like that. I actually have a lesson to give because someone I know called Jamie asked me about how I solo, so I'm going to go into little bits about how I do everything, and then if you want to know more, well, leave a comment and or in fact send me a message, probably be better, and I will go into more details for you. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the pentatonic scale. Now, put simply, it's this scale. Or more specifically, that one is the minor pentatonic, but it's the one you should solo. The major pentatonic sounds happy. Okay, so the minor pentatonic is your root note, gap of 2 frets, then your second note, then on the A string, the string below, you have straight below your root note, leave 1 fret gap, then there's your next note. On the string below, so the D string, you have your root note, have a fret gap, then there's your next note. G string is the same, and B and E have the 2 fret gap. So this brings me on to the next scale, which I use quite a lot, which is the minor pentatonic blues scale. So which sounds like this. So it's exactly the same, except it has 2 extra notes. The 2 extra notes are that one and that one. So on your A string, instead of having the 1 fret gap which I spoke of, you have no gaps in it. It's chromatic. And on your G string, instead of just having the 1 fret gap, you still have that 1 fret gap, then you have that next note. And the high B and E are the same, and all the other strings are the same. That's the only difference in it. Okay, the next thing, and I'm moving really quickly here because I don't want to kind of overrun on time or anything, because I can't remember how much time I'm allowed for a video on YouTube. To find your relative major or relative minor. So if we're playing an E minor or an E minor blues, the relative major is there. You literally kind of keep 2 frets gap and slide down. That's it. 2 fret gap, slide it down. If we're playing an so that's finding your relative major. Find your relative minor. It's literally the opposite. Relative minor is where your 2 fret gap, that's the root note for the relative minor. Relative major, remember, 2 fret gap, there. Yeah, like, that's really simple. It's really useful because in blues you can use both major and minor. So, remember it. It's an important thing. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is licks. Licks are really, really, really important and really useful tools. So what is a lick? It's kind of like that kind of thing. A repeated, or it could be a phrase which can be repeated. Now I'll put a link in the description of this to someone who does lots and lots of videos on just licks, lots of blues licks. So you can go look at his channel, learn his licks. I try and make mine or ones up when I'm playing, which is a good thing to do. Try and work out your own ones, using the scale, that sort of thing. But yeah, learn songs. Like, I don't know, in the song Afterlife, it has that phrase, except it's done like down at the 5th fret, and I'm not in drop D, so I can't actually play it or run in tune. But it's that kind of thing. It's the idea of hammer on pull off. That little phrase, diddle diddle, is a hammer on pull off thing, playing string above, and it can be used quite as a little quick kind of lick. It's really useful, and it's one of those ones which can be repeated quite a few times just in a row. I mean, obviously don't be scared to play the gaps, and that sounds stupid. How can you play a gap if you're not playing them? But if you kind of have a note and kind of bend it and then just like hold it and let it bend. That kind of thing. That's playing a gap. You bent the note and you just let it hang. So if you have like something going like a that kind of thing, it can sound really nice or very shocking, but yeah. Something quick followed by just a bend, holding it, and just letting it fade out. So that can be a really good one to use, playing gaps. It sounds really stupid, but once you get it, it'll be a really useful tool. Okay, this topic on emotion or technique. It's a tricky one. I play with emotion. I know people who play with technique, and they're really good players. Don't get me wrong, they're really good. But some of them lack an emotional side to their playing. I know a few people who have both an emotional side and with the technical skill behind it, and that's what you've got to aim for. I'm still trying to learn the technical side. I'm not doing very well at that, but I'm much better grasp the emotional side. But motion and technique, you want them both, really. Don't worry if you have one, not the other. I mean, it's fine. I only really play with emotion and let that kind of carry it. It's a personal choice, really. I like using emotion. The way I get my emotion is I either think of someone really, really fit and describe them through music, or I use something really sad, but it has to be a powerful emotion. If it's just something really weak, it won't sound good. You need something really powerful, and then it will sound of good quality and it will sound awesome. Okay, you have other positions you can use. So I've shown you the minor pentatonic in its original state. So and the minor pentatonic blues. If you take, once you hit the bottom of the scale, you can slide up 2 frets, and you can have a little box there with 1 fret gap. And it only works from the high B and E, and you can scooch it up another 2 frets and have that gap again. Now, there's minor pentatonic. There's another minor pentatonic which builds off the first step, the first one, extra like add-on bit I showed you, and it goes. And to get the blues note, I mean, like, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. You can ask about it if you want. And the blues note in it is literally, and It's only one octave. Doesn't matter. It's still something you can use though. I mean, again, as I said, if you want to know more detail, just kind of ask me about it. Say, Harry, you idiot, you weren't clear on this. Please, can you make a more clearer video on it? So yeah, then I'll be happy to do so. Okay, this next section is on landing on your root notes and the whammy bar. I put them together because I'm lazy, and trust me, they probably should be together. But yeah, okay, so root notes are really, really key. There's one, obviously there's the one you start on, which in this case is 12th fret and the E, so we're beginning with E minor. 2 strings, 2 frets, so there's the next one. So that's your first octave. So your 2 root notes in there. The next one, well, you have one out here. That allows you to use those 2 boxes and land on the root note. Obviously one here on the high E, and I believe that's all of them. But it's important, because if you land on a root note, you don't have to worry about the chord you're playing over. Because if you land on the root note, it's in the key of the piece. You're fine. And eventually your ear will be good enough to know just where you can land and can't land and that kind of thing. And you just take to practice. The next part of this, I said, was going to be about the whammy bar. Well, as you can see, I have a normal floating tremolo like on Strats. And those keen observant people will notice this isn't a Strat. It's a Yamaha Pacifica. But the reason why I can just kind of push it to the plastic, let it back again, and be in tune is because of the way I've tuned it. I've done a special tuning way which allows me to put fiddle on my whammy bar. But all I'm really doing with it a lot of the time is just adding more variable vibrato to it. And I did the occasional kind of dive bar, which is that kind of thing. Like at the end I'll do that, and I might kind of like hold a note, push my bar in, pick it and release it. Like all the other things you can do with the whammy bar, which is quite cool. You can kind of that kind of thing, which sounds quite cool. Which is pretty much pushing the whammy bar in, picking notes, and then releasing it back every time you pick, and pushing it in to pick the next one. Then the last one you let it up, and then you just like bend it and hold it. That is how I use the whammy bar, and that's why landing on root notes is important. Those two should not have been in the same video. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this, and Jamie, hope you learned a lot from it. Like, with all of you, if you want to know something, or maybe how I did something in more detail, like for example the way I tuned my guitar so I can use the whammy bar, like a Floyd Rose, send me a message, and I will be